Welcome to Fulfillment in Faith, where we will dive deep into self-discovery, empowerment, and manifesting the life you desire. I'm your host, Shannon Mondor, and through my own experiences with addiction, sobriety, and personal growth, I've learned invaluable lessons that I'm passionate about sharing with you. Now let's start creating a life you love. My name is Shannon Mondor, and welcome to my podcast, Fulfillment in Faith. Today, I've got an absolutely wonderful guest. Her name is Jennifer Watson, and I want to do a little bit of an extension on this podcast today because her and I have both done a journey together. We did a TED Talk at separate times, but how I did get connected with Jennifer is through a lovely man by the name of Daryl Stinson, and he coached us both. And that's what I love about what I do and where I am in life, is for the fact that I get to meet all of these amazing people. I'm getting chills right now. And, we're all walking a different path, but there are times where we meet up with each other, so then we can help each other grow. And this is one of the times that we're helping each other to grow, and it's magical, it's beautiful. And I'm going to give Jennifer the opportunity now to tell you a little bit about her background, where she's from, and then she's going to get right into the story. So welcome, Jennifer.
Shannon, thank you so much for having me. I'm just honored to be here, and I love to learn from you as well. And I agree. So many people I've connected with some of the journeys I've taken, and this is no different. And the fact I get to pour into your community, I'm humbled and honored to do that. And man alive, Shannon, like about me, all of us, once we've lived long enough, we've had so many different journeys. And I will say this, and it was probably the culmination at my TEDx, the summary of kind of where I've gone into and where I've come from and where I'm going in the last year. I've come home. I've
Mm-hmm.
come home. And a lot of that started in my journey where I was a high level athlete, everyone. I was a 2-time All American track athlete. And I learned to be high performing at a very young age. And I always was a natural leader, captain on my team, and was learning so many amazing things just being a high performer. But I struggle in the background with depression and anxiety pretty bad. And I kept that silent for quite some time. And as I was transitioning into from being an athlete into becoming a healer, a practitioner, physical therapist, I knew I had to get it right to heal myself for me to be a powerful healer for others. And I realized that health was not just physical, it was mental,
Yeah.
emotional, spiritual. And I started my journey into getting what that was. And it led me, go figure, my own journey of healing, and made me more profound as a healer for the people that came to me,
Mm-hmm.
for mind, body, soul, pain. And I saw high level athletes to clients with cancer, to women's health, to military with PTSD and everything in between. I had the honor to take them through their healing to thriving journey. And ultimately, it transitioned me into God just putting on my heart to take this information of mine, my own story, but also my client's story, in expertise onto a stage, onto a platform where I could speak more wisdom in some of the things that I experienced, not only in the certifications and the degrees I had, but really my own journey of health. And that's when I got into coaching, consulting, and speaking, and what I am doing now. And where I really want, I call it more specifically the human being, the person that wants to be high performing and lead that really powerful impact, that there's ways of doing that by healing thyself, by shifting your mental and emotional state to kind of get out of the weeds of perspective or perceptive or reality problems, from internal and external problems, really get out of the weeds and back into your lane and really be able to express your unique self coming home with your unique giftings, your unique message, lead your power with higher level traits, and really be able to create the performance from a sustainable space that feels empowering, vital for you, and that others that you influence can feel as well, that your impact really gets out there. So that's what I do now as a speaker and a coach consultant, Shannon, is really help those leaders that really want to create change, really first heal thyself and then move into a space that allows them to influence in a powerful way because we all know in a world that's hurting right now, we need a lot of leaders out there giving their impact, their giftings, their story for good to the world.
Mhm. And you know, when I kind of look at my journey, and I think at that beginning stages of my journey where I was so scared, I didn't know what I should be speaking about, what I shouldn't be speaking about. I was so concerned about if I speak up too much, how is it going to affect the people around me? Are they going to reject me or are they going to embrace me? My life was totally, completely full of fear. And
Yeah.
I can look back to that time. And what I really had to do is I really had to go by instinct because
Mm,
nobody knew what I was going through.
yeah.
And I knew that I couldn't keep what was going on with inside me anymore. So that's where I had to really start to trust myself. And it was along that journey that you do start to see how things unravel within you, but then you also see how the things around you really shift and the people that you really thought would be there for you weren't there for you, but that's all a part of the journey.
Yeah.
Now, when you were going through, these different changes and shifts within your life, and then you started to heal, what is it that really impacted you the most?
Yeah. Gosh,
That's a pretty heavy question. I know,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I, uh, like I look at you and I look at me, and we are such strong, powerful women, and we really stepped into who we are. And there are people that are listening to us right now that are, but how do you go about doing it? So I know how I did, and I just said it a little brief way, you just got to do it.
yeah.
What can you add to that?
Yeah, and I love what you said. One of the things I teach in my program is trusting and learning to
Yeah,
fan your inner wisdom, especially when the world you feel is against you, your family doesn't understand, or you're misunderstood, and you're just so afraid.
yeah.
Teach people how to navigate that in my program, where you move through a lot of that stuff from a mental, emotional space and spiritual space, and be able to take small steps into things that are aligned with your inner truth, your inner wisdom. But I will say this, I truly believe a lot of us at first that have been through a lot of different things, which a lot of people have that have probably are listening to this right now, that you do have these kind of come to Jesus moments, or the bathroom or kitchen floor moments that you're sitting in this like fork in the road.
Hmm.
And that happened to me throughout my life several different times, you guys. But as I've healed, those have gotten less frequent because of what I've learned. But my initial fork in the road, where I learned a kind of something that I had to step into, was I remember having a lot of success, you guys, already in my PT practice. I had the house, the car, the boyfriend, like all this stuff. And I literally had this moment of, I'm miserable. Like, I am so miserable. And it made me deeply reflect. Like, I felt shame with that because I was successful, you guys on the outside. But I really was willing, even though it hurt, like to go deeper. Like, where was that coming from? And what I realized is something that Shannon touched on. And I feel like a lot of high performing leaders have been through in some way, shape, or form, that we're people pleasers too sometimes, and we've done things for other people really well because we're high performers, we're perfectionists. But what I realized is I was leaning a ladder against a tree that I kind of never wanted to be on,
Hmm.
or at least didn't want to be on anymore. I'm like, I don't really want this success. I actually always wanted this, something that was my inner wisdom, like, Jennifer, try this, but I never had done it. And I was so scared of rejection, or people wouldn't understand, and all this stuff. And that's when I literally sold my PT practice, sold my house, moved across the country, and no one understood me. I lost family, I lost friends for a while, but I had to take that step, and it really came to that crux in the road. And you guys, not that you have to do something that extreme. I had to, but for me, the bigger thing before taking that big action was, I don't like my life. I want peace and joy. Like, I'd look at my twin who had peace and joy. I'm like, how does she have that? She's not even doing all the rock star things I'm doing. And she wasn't. And you guys, it's not comparison, but I was like, she's not even going after it. And she's so at peace. I'm like, I was so mesmerized by that, Shannon. So when I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't even like the tree I'm climbing up, the ladder I'm leaning against the tree on. What step can I take? You guys, for all of you out there, maybe obviously selling your practice, that's what I did, move across the country is too much. You don't have to do something that big, but being in that honesty of, is this even the life I want? Am I home in who I really want to contribute and be to the world? And if not, what is one step, you guys, and maybe one friend that'll keep you accountable on it? And that's what I did, you guys. I sold my practice. I moved across the country, And I had a friend, one close mentor friend of mine, keep me accountable to stay in that, not look back. And I'm so glad they did, because what it did is allowed the momentum to start happening to these other things that I truly desired. And by the way, everyone, that doesn't mean my life before was all miserable and that I wasn't so grateful for some of the things I got to contribute to the world in. I had great moments. I got to help people heal. I had an amazing practice and met amazing people and so many other things that came from that. What I'm telling you guys is, don't keep doing something that, even though quote you're successful at, if you're feeling miserable, that's your body brilliance saying, I don't like being here. We don't trust that. You guys, this is a side note. It's so interesting to me. We get so much information online and social media, and we literally give our money, our time, our blood, so to speak, to people we don't even know, and we trust them. Yet we don't trust ourselves, and our body's saying, I'm miserable, I don't like this, I'm starting to tank mentally and physically, and we just keep ignoring it. And I'm saying it to myself, I'm so mesmerized by that. You guys, go back to your inner wisdom, your body brilliance, and take one step in that today. And if you need help exploring that, that's Shannon and I do a lot of different similar works to help you expand on that, move into that space of staying in line with where you really want to go. But at the end of the day, you guys, it does take that fork in the road and being willing to say, am I truly where I'm at and who I want to be? Am I home in my true self? And if you don't know, see how you feel physically and mentally, because it shows up in your body and it's telling you every day. You're like, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, you do. You guys, I throw that back into my clients' faces. I'm like, if you sit in it, you have the knowing of, I need to do something. You may need mentorship to move out of that space. I need coaches. Shannon and I have both been coached. I love being coached and mentored. And I believe that's where you need to start. And at first, it may be a big self implosion, kind of fork in the road where I was at. Or it just may be that when you hear this and you're starting to feel it a little bit, that maybe you learned before Shannon and I did, that you can actually move out of that quicker. And there's always going to be other people that are going to support you at that new evolution of you, you guys. It may be some from your past, it may not. But this openness of letting go. And, I think of, like, I'm a movie person, and I don't know if any of you have ever seen The Life of Pi. I don't really like the movie, but I love a line in there. And one of the lines was, the sum of life is the act of letting go.
Hmm.
That's so profound, because I believe that every transformation I've made into more of who I am is I've had to go through the loss, like the hardship of letting go of people, places, my old identity. And it starts with small steps like this, you guys. So that would be my come to Jesus, kind of where it all started. And I've had micro moments of that humbly through my life. But it gets less and less where I get dialed in, because I know who I am now. And that's a powerful space to be, you guys. We need your uniqueness. That's you on this earth, no matter what.
It's so funny because as you're talking, I'm like, yep, that's right. Yep, yep, yep. I went through that. Yep, I know exactly what she's talking about. Yep, here we are. Yep. You know,
Right?
and that's so true because once you start to be truthful, that's the biggest thing I found. And I look back at my journey is just as soon as I started to speak my truth, I was scared at first. But then really it started to get easier and easier and easier. And I really found out that individuals in my life were only there for a season and for a reason. But as each one left, somebody more beautiful came in. As you said, we're talking about people that elevate you. And then as I embodied that aspect of that time in my life, then once again, people were in my life for a season and a reason, and then others left. And then now more people came in. And that's what it's like you're climbing the ladder in life is
Yeah.
actually what it is.
You
And
know,
now I'm just totally surrounded by absolutely wonderful, beautiful people in
yeah,
my life. And when I have to let go and move forward,
yeah.
yes, sometimes it can be scary, but at least I understand what the process is. This is what's getting me to my next level. And sometimes it does hurt really bad, but being drawn forward
Yeah,
is more powerful,
yeah, for
more,
sure.
more powerful and more stronger, that it does make it, I'm not going to say easier. I don't know what the word would be, but it would be like, okay, I know that I have to let you go.
And I'll say this, you guys, because I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. People that are maybe listening to this be like, yeah, we get that. Speak your truth. Like, I can't do it. It's so hard. Like, I literally find myself going back to pattern. You guys, this is where coaching comes in space, but I'm a practitioner by trade. And I want to go a little science here, keep it at a basic level, but realize your body, your nervous system, and your brain are used to shutting up, not speaking your truth. So when you do something, or about to do something that's not like that or counterintuitive, your body does not know different or change is a good thing. It sees it as unsafe. Your
Mhm.
body will physically and emotionally shut down. And that's why learning tools to be able to navigate that so you can get your body into a safe space and then speak your truth is key, everybody. So trust me, I hear this because I used to be this like, I'm doing all these incantations, be confident, Jennifer, speak your truth. And it wasn't working. And I knew as a practitioner why. You guys, breaking down and rewiring some of this, your body is brilliant, but remember, it goes and connects to the past and what's happened in the past. To give it new tools is the key, but to do it in a certain order is very necessary, because if your body is not on board with speaking your truth, it is not going to happen. It's going to happen once in a blue moon. You're going to go back to square one. So I'm going to encourage all of you, we gave you kind of like start with one step and listen to this podcast and listening to how Shannon and I have moved through things. But at the end of the day, you guys, if you find that you're going back into a pattern, especially speaking your truth, there's a lot of different trauma responses there that you have to move through. And it's not, has to be overcomplicated, but breaking through those and then aligning in this space that you are is truly key. And this is another thing I want to say to you guys is when it gives you that emotion of like loss, because if you speak your truth, your brain doesn't go to the frontal cortex to make a decision or a belief until it goes through the emotional sensory space. Did you know that? So you have to process the emotions first through the sensory region of your brain before is willing to believe a different belief and a different behavior behind that belief. So again, I'm kind of going in deeper science, but at the end of the day, you guys just know awareness is key. One step,
Yes.
listen to this podcast. And if you're still finding yourself in the pattern, don't shame that, but reach out to one of us. You guys, I get it. Sometimes we need to go deeper on some of these concepts. And I'm telling you, when you do, then you do start seeing the acceleration of this life that you want to live, including speaking your aligned truth, no matter the consequences of that, because there's been a lot of stuff that you've internally healed that are necessary and vital for you to move into that space.
And that's so true when you said awareness is number one, because once you have that awareness and these patterns start to happen, then you
Yeah.
can actually reflect back on your life and then you can see where these patterns actually really started
Yeah.
and
You know
how
what's really
it is
interesting?
cycled over and over.
And Shannon, I want to speak on this with Shannon because I think a lot of people get out a lot out of this. Shannon and I both went through a TEDx, and I know you asked me earlier like what technique. I'm like, not that you guys have to be this extreme. Go through the TEDx experience. Tell you right now, when you go through that, and we can even talk about why that's true, it's going to bring up triggers, old traumas, old mirrors, things you need to heal. We can talk about what that TEDx experience is, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to speed things up, go through the TEDx experience, go through what you want to cultivate as far as bringing your message to the world. And I guarantee you some of the stuff that we're talking about is going to come up
Oh
because
yeah.
it can't,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And it was so funny because when you first started talking on the interview, you had said that, you felt like you were at home. You're at home. And that was the thing when I started walking out onto that stage and I hit that red dot and I looked out into the audience.
Yeah.
I knew, and that's what I said to Daryl. I said, I knew I was home. I knew
Ah,
I
yeah.
belonged.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, wow.
Yeah.
It was just like, I'm here, I'm home.
Well, I
And to
think
have
what's
that feeling and the knowing was just the most incredible, powerful thing I've ever experienced, ever.
yeah. And I will say this for any listeners that are coming on, that whether you're speakers and are interested in doing a TEDx, or you've never spoken, but that is something that you're interested in the journey because you want to bring your message to the world. The reason why we're talking about the TEDx and why it's so unique in helping you speak your truth and come back home is compared to a lot of other platforms. I'm sure Shannon can, express the same thing on this, that TEDx kind of stands by itself, because usually TEDx, everyone, is accumulation of kind of your life's journey and the message you want to take from that life's journey. They're not all that way, but a lot of people they are. And that's why it's going to bring up old stories, old triggers, or patterns that you'll have to move through. Some of them you'll use as points on your TEDx, but it truly is usually a culmination of things you've learned to finally get to the essence of you and come back home. So what Shannon said of when she finally did this whole journey in processing and creating the TEDx, and what it brought out in her when she stepped on that, that dot, and I've done it too. The reason why you feel home is because you've taken finally all these layers off of just things that you've learned and maybe created patterns and gotten to the pure essence of you. And now you get to bring that message so others can learn and hopefully do the same in their own life. And that's truly you coming home and speaking your truth. And that's why Shannon felt that way. So any of you that are interested in that, like reach out to Shannon, reach out to me. Like there's so much beauty in the journey. There's a lot of highs and lows with it. I know we could probably cross stories on that one.
Oh,
We've already
there were times me and Daryl would be on and I would just break down and it was just like it was beautiful, but at the
yeah,
same time it was very scary and it is a journey. And that's
yes.
the thing, that anybody that does decide that they do want to do a TED Talk, you have
Yeah.
to be prepared for a journey.
Yes, 100%. And I will say this, so many probably listeners that come on, like they're probably willing to do hard things. TEDx, like compared to other speaking gigs, is definitely a hard journey because of what we just talked about. But at the end of the day, you guys, if you're wanting to speak your truth and it's not even on the TEDx stage and you just want to learn to speak your truth more, it will be a very hard thing to do. We talked about having to break some patterns and need some coaching support. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say this, everyone, and maybe some of you've heard this, but something that really hit home for me: life is hard.
Mhm.
Life is hard. It's beautiful, but it is really hard. And most of you probably coming on here have had your experiences of yourself where it's been hard. But I will say this: do you want to live a hard life and at least go down the road of something you desire that will be hard? Or do you want to not do that, shut your mouth, not do what you want to do, stay on the same ladder that you climb and that you don't really like, and end up still having, by the way, you guys, because I've worked with a hard life, but then at the end of the life, you didn't even do anything you wanted to do. So they're both hard. And again, I know some of you've heard this phrase, but I'll just say it to you again: choose your hard. Like, do you want, the life that you desire and it will be hard, or do you want the life that you don't desire and that will also be hard and maybe even more hard and still regret at the end of your life? I've been at the bedside of my older sister who went on to the next life, who passed away, literally with me holding her hand. And it's true, you guys, at the end of your life, you're not regretting, the house you didn't get, or the boyfriend that didn't work. You're regretting the things that you didn't take a shot in, no matter how they turned out. And that's the things I heard at the end of her life the last 30 days. And that's something that put a fire underneath me, you guys, is life is hard, but choose your hard. And for me personally, I want to go after my life. It doesn't mean I'm wrangling and stressing out. I talk in my TEDx about allowing and receiving and making things with ease and flow, but I will say I'm still going after the life I desire. And that does require me to go back home. And from that space, it does require me, whether I'm a speaker or not, you guys are a speaker or not, to speak my truth with
Mhm.
the people in my world. And once you do that, you guys, I find game over for anything else you want in this life. Speak from your essence, your truth, in a kind, beautiful way, and your people and your opportunities, your places are going to come to you. And the life that you've been dreaming about actually does happen.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Absolutely beautiful. Just beautiful. Jennifer, just kind of looking at your life and the whole journey of the aspect with the TED Talk and just all of it. What do you feel that you've learned the most out of all of this?
Wow. I would say this: detach from the outcome. Detach from the outcome. I think we as humans, all of us, you guys, I don't care if you're a business owner, speaker, just a person that wants to do well. It's like we put a goal on things like New Year's resolutions. We put like dates and in times we want to achieve goals, and it's our natural human existence to do that. It's part of us. But I believe higher level consciousness of us, higher level healing of the human being that actually gets those things. The irony is, the ones that actually get the things they want and the destined time that they wanted are the ones that can get to a point that they can settle and detach from the outcome. If you can do that with day in day out activities, not just big goals, like detach from the outcome of maybe having to navigate a tough conversation with a friend that may not go well. It's not just about business, you guys. Detach from the outcome that your launch may or may not go well, even though you're putting the energy out there in alignment of all these things. It may not go the way you want. I truly believe, not only for myself, and that would be my answer to your question, Shannon, but for many people that are probably listening that really want the most in their life, is detached from the outcome. Because you guys, at the end of the day, the highs and lows, no matter how much effort you put in, will happen. There's other things at work besides just your work, right? And if you can just detach from that and know no matter how it turns out, good or quote bad, it's usually good because it's a lesson. If you can stay in that integrity and peace, but I'm going to keep going because I know my truth, you're going to have a lot more peace and joy. And that's one thing I've learned to do a lot more, probably in the last 3 years, especially, is detach from the outcome with small things or big things. And it's allowed me to stay in my essence and my truth, and allowed me to have a lot more peace in my day-to-day activities. You guys, to be quite frank with you, I did get to the point where I wanted to take my life. I was writing down the day that I was going to do that years ago. Okay. Because I was done and I was successful because I wasn't at peace. And I'm going to tell you, one of the things that is going to help you stay at peace with your life is to, find out who you are, do it on purpose, speak your truth, use some of the tools we talked about, but also detach from the outcome. You guys, it doesn't mean that you don't have a high bar of excellence in your life. I still have a high bar of what I desire and what I desire to master my craft in and speak. I'm always refining and looking at my videos and how can I speak differently. But at the end of the day, I'm still detaching from the outcome, because no matter how good I do things, there's going to be a hater. No matter how good I do things, there's always going to be someone that thinks it's not that great. But if I can just have peace that I tried and I gave my best effort, that's the biggest thing. So if there's anything I can give to any of you besides speaking your truth, the art of letting go, and third, detach from the outcome. Those are my three things. Like I said, come back home, speak your truth, and detach from the outcome, my friend. And if you can do that, um, you have a lot of joy and prosperity coming your way.
So you already answered my second question, and that was, what advice would you give to others? And so
Yeah.
those three would
Oh,
be what you would
100%.
give to others.
Come back home to
Yeah.
yourself, speak your truth, and absolutely detach from the outcome, let go and detach from the outcome. And you guys, I say those things and they're powerful, but you might need coaching support. Reach out to
Mhm.
Shannon, reach out to me. Listen, I'm going to tell you those three things. I needed a coach or I wouldn't be here. I'm going to
And
be
you know
honest.
what? Like I have a coach still, and I can probably say that I will probably have a coach now for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I think it's important, you guys. And listen, you guys, it's
It
not
is.
what our programs, what I'm going to tell you guys, anybody that is successful, any listeners out there that you admire, they have some type of mentorship,
They
coaching,
do.
counseling going on, if not all the time, quite often. And I realized that I was a high level athlete and I always was mesmerized by when I got to sports and people leave high schools and they think they don't need coaches anymore. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I always, whether it be business coach, wellness coach, emotional coach, relationship coach, like I always know that no matter quote how much I know, having someone come in and keep me not only accountable, but see things that I'm not seeing and support me in a different way is so super powerful. So I'm going to encourage all of you, like, use some of these tools, look at these insights that we've given you guys on. And the first step is awareness. But at the end of the day, if you can get a coach, find a way, and there's so many opportunities out there for people to get the support. I encourage that because that'll help you with these three things that we just mentioned, that'll help you navigate in a really powerful way.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's so funny, like with my coach, when we talk about different things, and she'll be like, oh, well, my coach was, we were talking about this. And I love the fact, like, this, my coach is like a multi-million-dollar success story. And then to know, like, she was even coached by Neil Donald Walsh. Like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, like, I want to get to her level so I can hire him. Like,
Yeah.
like even Tony Robbins
Yeah.
has a mentor. That's just how it is. That's how these individuals got to the level that they're at. And
That actually,
I'm getting there,
yeah, and
I'm
that
going
actually
there.
brings up a great point. Like, we sometimes don't speak our truth because of the people in the room. That's been a case where it's like, oh my gosh, they're here and I'm here. I'm like, you guys, and by the way, I don't say this in a pompous way. I deserve to be in the room.
Absolutely, you do.
And Shannon, and anybody listening, and that's also why Tony Robbins is coached. He
Mhm.
realizes he doesn't know everything, you guys, and the people that are around him that are in his room know they deserve to be there and probably can help him.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we can stop using like Brene Brown or Tony Robbins or whoever you put out there, and kind of, not do this whole they're there and I'm here. And by the way, it doesn't mean they don't have skill sets that you don't have and that you desire and aspire to, but you probably have some that they don't have. When you learn to level out and know that we're all in this as human beings, pooping, peeing, and struggling just like the next person, and that you deserve to be in rooms, it's going to allow you to leverage things like from Tony Robbins and not feel like, oh, I can't wait. Like, no, speak your truth and you can get there faster if that's where you want to go and be on stages like Tony Robbins or whatever else you desire. So understand that, and maybe that'll help some people that desire to speak their truth, is know that no one is better than you. In many rooms you walk into, you have an opportunity to be of value and service, even if it's not for what you think the person you hold so much esteem for. It's just like it's come back to home, like what you have to offer. And when I started doing that more, because I've been in rooms where there's a lot of big hoity-toity people, when I learned to own what I had to bring to the table confidently, I got to influence those people. So doing that will help you actually speak your truth more powerfully too.
And I love that you said that, when you know that you belong in that room, because now I'm at that level where I am going into rooms now that I never thought that I would be able to even be in. And now I'm like colleagues right alongside everybody else there. And I know absolutely I am there for a reason. They are going to be learning things from me just as much as I am going to be learning from them. Like, and I'm just so excited because I've got so much to share. I have got
Yeah.
so much to share, and I've earned my right, and I've made it possible within my life. And now walking into the room, probably 5 years ago, I would have thought, oh, they're hoity-toity. No, they're not, because that was a low vibration individual me at that time, thinking that, because I didn't think I was deserving to be in there at all. So it's so
Right.
funny how the different of perspective has really happened and shifted in my mind and my thoughts, feelings, and emotions and my body, right? So now when I walk in there, it's like I am equal. You are my colleague, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to be embracing you just as much as you're embracing me. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Amen.
Oh gosh, this was just absolutely wonderful having you on here. But tell us right now, where are you in your life, Jennifer?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I am personally in the middle of dating, which is great, open to meeting someone, which is always great. Summer is always a great time for me where I'm very active. So I love to be outdoors and play with, my friends and family. I have family actually coming in town this weekend. So from a personal perspective, just I'm loving that space right now. From a professional perspective, I'm going into a busy season. I'm actually taking my second TEDx, Chemistry Resilience, on the road, and I'm doing the Chemistry Resilience Tour that starts in August. And I have the blessing of doing it in many states because I have colleagues, connections everywhere, and we're bringing this to the world, and we're doing international stuff. And then I'm just in my speaking, just busyness by the time fall comes around, and opening up my next coaching program. Well, not opening up my next, it's just up leveling to the next level with a lot of my high performing leaders. And if anybody's interested in that, absolutely reach out to me. But yeah, just doing a little bit of work, a little bit of play, ready to have my second, or my first, not second, first book to come out hopefully by the beginning of next year, because I'm going to start working on that at the end of this year. And yeah, that's just kind of me in a nutshell.
You've
I'm
got a
excited.
lot going on. That's exciting. Now, if people want to see you for your TEDx tour, are you going to be posting it on your social
Yes,
medias, or
I
how are
am.
people going to be
Yes, I
able to
am.
find out that?
And
Because I know, me personally, I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling down in the US, especially with my tour coming up with my publicist and that. So I want to know, I want to be able to
uh,
go onto social media and be like, hey, you know what?
yes,
Close to Jennifer. Maybe I can go
yes.
see her, you know?
Yes, for sure. I will be posting that. It's more is going to be coming out this coming week. Some of the dates, especially more like October, November, are still being kind of refined because of location and stuff like that. But my point is, yes, it's coming. And my first one's in Colorado, in Fort Collins, Colorado, August 22nd. But then I have other speaking gigs just that are separate from my tour. That's going to be pretty amazing.
Okay, well, that's awesome. So all this information will be in the notes for the podcast. And at this time, Jennifer, oh my gosh, I want to say thank you so much for being on my podcast. It's been an absolutely blessing that you're here. And I just got to thank you for being a part of my journey. I'm so thankful for that. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Shannon. It was a blessing for me to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into Fulfillment in Faith. If you're ready to take your faith and empowerment to the next level, connect with me at shannonmondor.com. Remember, you are not alone on this journey. Together, we can create the lives we love. Until next time, stay empowered and keep the faith.